Think back to a time when you were young. Back to a time when you probably asked your parents for a puppy or a kitty. Now, you probably remember them telling you that you had to take responsibility. You had to take them out for walks, had to feed them, and even clean up after them if they made a mess. Well, you may think, what harm could come from that? Everybody loves pets. Well, not everybody. See, what many people don't know is that there's animal abuse going on each and every day in the United States, along with overseas too. I'm here to tell you about just a few of the different types of animal abuse. Let's start with the most common, and that would be dogfighting. Dogfighting is a very brutal and popular sport. It happens mostly on the East Coast, although it is spreading to the South. In dogfighting, it's where two handlers bring each of their champion dogs. Now, most of these dogs that are selected are pit bull breeds because of their aggressiveness. They'll bring them into the ring and they'll let them fight each other. Normally, it's to the death. It's a very, very sad and cruel sport. And when they're training these dogs, they'll take other smaller or older and weaker dogs to let the pit bulls go after. And in most cases, the bait dog is what they call it, ends up dying. Now, according to the Daily Mail online source, from an article back in April of 2012, there was a 14-year-old boy that was arrested on suspicions of a dogfighting ring, and apparently he was the leader of it. It's sad to see that young ages that kids are getting into these blood sports. Now, of course, they didn't have enough evidence to charge them, so they ended up letting them go. But they did take in 9 dogs that had signs of dogfighting. Another type of animal cruelty is cockfighting. Now, cockfighting, you may ask, what is it? Well, cockfighting is where owners raise these special roosters. They're smaller than a normal household family pet rooster. And they raise them in small cages with nothing but water that has drugs in it. And they raise them to be hyped up roosters on drugs. What they do when it comes time for the fight is they'll put about 3-inch metal blades on their spurs on their legs and attach them, so then when the rooster goes up to attack, they kick with their legs and end up stabbing the other rooster. And in most times, it's a fight to the death, because once they start, they will not stop. It's very sad to see. According to another source from the Animal Protection Society, New Mexico is one of 3 states that allows cockfighting, along with Louisiana and Connecticut. Now, there are many people out there who are trying to get this to stop, along with dogfighting. But, of course, it's very hard to. It's like marijuana and drugs, all that. You want to get it to stop, but you can't. And many sources have said that we don't want to see this. It's sad to see that these younger generations are growing up with this and all this violence, and that's what they get into. A parent from the Animal Protection Society even stated that he saw little kids running around with the dead roosters who actually were still partially alive, wringing their necks and then ending up throwing them in the trash. Now, if that's not animal cruelty, I don't know what is. I'll go to the final major animal cruelty there is. This sport takes place down in Mexico. It is one of the major attractions there, and it's called bullfighting. Now, bullfighting compared to bull riding is totally different. Bull riding here in the United States is where a rider actually gets on a bull and tries to stay on. Bullfighting down in New Mexico, it's not good, not fun to see. With bullfighting, they raise these bulls in a dark, cramped area on nothing but water and food that is filled with drugs. They don't get to see sunlight for 6 months or more. Once it's their turn to go into the ring, they run them up into the ring, and when they hit the sunlight, they're very disoriented. Well, in comes riders on horses that have special padding to protect the horses from the bull's horns. They shove picks into the horse's shoulder blade muscles and along the spinal cord, so then they can paralyze it or at least wound it, so then the next set of people that come in have a better chance of not being hit by the bull. Well, after the riders go out, the next set comes in and they shove even more picks into vital areas. After that happens, the matador comes in, waves his red cape around just for the show, and then as the final act, he takes his sword and drives it through the aorta of the heart of the bull, killing it. Now, 9 times out of 10, they miss, and so the bull ends up suffering. And it's a very, very cruel thing to see. And that is what animal